Welcome to the fight game. It's Icewater and yours truly, Puma. And apologize for skipping out a week, but we're back. And we want to talk about Tszyu and the Mendoza fight. We didn't get to talk about last time we were on. And I saw that bout, man, and it just seemed to me Tszyu pulled a Charlo where he started feeling, not Tszyu, but Mendoza pulled a Charlo when he started feeling Tszyu's power. He kind of backed off a little bit. He was dancing around a little bit and didn't want to get knocked out. So people are following that trend, and I'll just hang in there for 12 rounds and not fight. But it was something that you said that I wanted to talk about. It just seemed like in the fight, it was kind of evenly matched up until about the fourth or fifth round. And Tszyu was like, okay, I'm about to go to work. And you could see Mendoza kind of trying to stay away from her. Tszyu tapped him in the fifth or sixth round. And to me, that was the fight where he was chasing him all around the ring, and that Mendoza didn't want him.
Yeah, I can see that. But Mendoza was known for having heavy hands and being able to knock people out. I don't know if he really got comfortable where he felt he could throw his hands because his corner continued to encourage him to throw his hands.
Mm-hmm.
And he throw his hands out of desperation. And he was actually landing some shots, but it wasn't the kind where you could stop somebody in his tracks. So, and I think that's what allowed Tszyu to move forward. One thing though about Tszyu, and I understand when you can say, well, Mendoza is running like Charlo, I give you all that, but there's some about a guy, and maybe it's just me. They talk about the zoo and he was coming for him, and he was really supposed to knock him out. But if you're this big puncher, when Mike Tyson came after somebody and they was running, sooner or later he caught him and he put him down. Right? He knocked him out. Not too many people went the distance with Mike Tyson, right? Unless it was somebody worthwhile. But if these guys, like you said, they running, then you're supposed to be all this big bad heavy hands. Put them down, put them down, and not so much about that with Tszyu. I think Brian Mendoza was a lot tougher than Tszyu thought coming in, and he's more of boxing. He moved around. He did move more than we're used to. When I'm talking about Brian Mendoza, and he did survive. I know y'all tired of me saying survival, but that's what people try to do. They try to survive. But I will say this, and I tried to be very what's the one said? I want to try to be very open. I tried to be unopinionated when I watched it. I tried to be more neutral when I watched this fight. But the one thing that got me, and I said this to Puma as well, is Tim Tszyu seems very methodical to me. What I mean by that, he seems a straightforward fighter, and his feet are not that fast. Because that was the thing I thought that he would move around, and even though Mendoza was moving, was running, as people would say, he would catch up to him and put him down. But he took him a while to do that. He was slow in his approach. He was taking some shots. And all I'm saying to you is, if you fight another fighter that is more mobile, more versatile, and can move and throw shots, I think it could be a major problem for Tszyu, because I don't see him being able to counteract like that. He's more of almost a stationary target at times. And a mobile fighter, I think, can really hurt him. And that's what we talked about that before. And I know Puma's feeling some kind of way still about Charlo, but I'm saying Charlo at his weight class is known for moving around and tagging guys. And even a guy like if you let Terrence Crawford come up moving around, I think there could be a major problem for Tszyu.
Because when you said that, and I know we discussed this, don't see Carnelo as a very mobile fighter, and how Charlo really handled that particular situation, and I see Tszyu is the same way, and so I see Tszyu as a heavy-handed fighter that you don't really want to taking body shots and headshots from this particular guy. And so my question is, and it's a rhetorical question, is what would be the difference if Charlo fought Tszyu and found out, hey, this guy got a lot more power than I do? Does he resort to the same thing he did with Carnelo? Because he's been calling out Tszyu too. Tszyu said after the fight, come on, let's go. You've been calling me out. Let's do this. And so, and when you have fighters, and I look at Tszyu and Charlo a little bit as a kind of the same fighter. Charlo, not Charlo, but Canelo and Tszyu are more of the same fighter. But I see Canelo being the one that he wants to punish you and take those heavy, those haymaker shots to try to get you out, which he could not. I mean, he knocked down Charlo, but he couldn't take him out, or didn't get a good shot to take him out. So to me, I'm just asking a rhetorical question, maybe to you or out there, to folks out there. What would be the difference in that fight? That's all I'm saying with Tszyu's style, and yeah.
I think it's a great question. I think it's a great analogy as well. But I'll tell you the one thing I think is going to be different is the difference between weight, 14 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
We got one guy's once they fought at 168, and now these guys are fighting at 154, which is a lot more natural for Charlo, right? And Charlo with the punches feels like he can make a difference in punishing a guy at 154. The other thing too is the way that Brian Mendoza was hitting uh, Tszyu at times. I mean, he was landing some good shots when he did. And to see that with Charlo, I think that's going to be a major difference. Plus, too, I don't think there's no reason why Charlo would have a reason to, if you would, fear uh, Tszyu at that weight because he's been comfortable at that weight. He's fought a couple guys before him that had some serious power. And I think the weight is going to be major. I think it's going to show you that Charlo is like, I definitely don't fear anybody at 154. I understand what you're saying. I don't think the punches are going to be the same at 154 than they will be at 168. I think that's a big difference. And if you do that, then the one thing that you're looking for that you said you were down on Charlo for because he was running, I think you see it now. You're going to start to see that movement at 154, that back and up and throwing punches and tagging a guy that's stationary because he feels very comfortable at 154. Was he out of his league? Maybe out of the water at 168, perhaps. And maybe he did the wrong thing that he should have done. Maybe he did retreat. And that's not what people deserve. I would never ever say you're wrong about that. But to say that he clearly is not going to be anything at all at 154, a natural weight for him, that not only has he been, I mean, the dude's been dominant at 150. I mean, literally dominant. So it's not like he's getting along, whatever. He had some hella fights. You fight, Harrison, right? Punish Harrison, and Tszyu got a worn out Harrison, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got a guy that's basically should be done with boxing, but now and not take nothing from Tszyu. I mean, hey, he's in the limelight, he's in the spotlight, so he's gonna run his mouth, and he's winning, he's making money, great. But at the same time, you are in your own place. So are you gonna come to Vegas? Come get it. So I think I'll say this. I think Charlo has some dog in him still. I think he does. I think it was a lesson for him. Even though you say that he ran, but it was a lesson. He learned from that. But that's what the greats do. See, the problem I have, and I get off this real quickly, is in boxing, particularly with fans and some of the media, we pick and choose who we criticize when they have a bad fight, right? Now when Canelo loses to Floyd Mayweather, he did a hell of a job just taking that fight. He learned a lot of lessons. That's okay. But Canelo would tell you that he thought he was gonna win the fight. And in fact, how is it that Mayweather won a damn split decision? This shit wasn't even close.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't close. When you go back and watch it, there was no way there was a split decision. But I guess my point is the media and some of our fans, we pick and choose who when somebody loses, we dog them. Like they even talk about the last fight that when Canelo fought Triple G. That was a no contest. Triple G was old. He looked old. Like, well, man, he came out there and gave out. No, he did not. He looked 40. So we pick and choose who we want. We pick and choose who we want to support, right? We like, okay. I mean, like, and what I want to see though is going to be very interesting because the zoo has some great. There's some things coming up with the zoo. So he has the opportunity to perhaps fight Charlo if that's what they want to do, right? But they're also saying that I think the one of the parties, one of the sanctioning bodies, has put it out there that if because I think the way it's coming out 147, something to that effect, if uh, the rematch between Terence Crawford does not happen with Errol Spence, right? Then they're going to open the door for Crawford to fight Tszyu, to
Okay.
go up and fight for that. Which I said all the time. I've said this, and I think Crawford's saying it now. He wants to win, be undisputed in one other weight class. He wants to get some more belts, and I think that he sees Tszyu as easy pickings
Mm.
to go up and get what he wants, and then he can retire. If you get the other stuff opportunities, he'll probably jump at it and take it. But if he says, you know what, I saw how slow that dude is. You do that against me, and it's only 154, right? It's only 7 pounds, not 168. I can go up there and get that guy because he's too slow. And with the speed, that's what he's doing. That's what he wants. And when you see that, now again, say what you want to about Floyd Mayweather, you still see the guys picking and choosing who they think they can beat and how they work with it. And Tszyu better decide what he wants. I think that's what he wants to Charlo fight because it's going to be more money. He better get that big fight while he can because if he takes a loss, he has all of the luster about his dad and that legacy and whatnot, but he's not going to have the same luster. He's hot right now. He's not going to have the same luster to make the money that he can if he loses.
All right. It's fight week, and you have some championship bouts coming up this week. The WBC Super Featherweight title with Foster. He's going up against Hernandez. You have Amanda Serrano. She's champion undisputed featherweight title coming up with Delena Ramos. And then, of course, you have Tyson Fury versus Francis Ngannou, the heavyweight championship bout. I'm going to let you take it from here, bro. Which one should the folks be wanting to watch? I know you're going to say all of them, but what are specific things that they should be watching in these bouts?
Well, with the Tyson Fury bout, we know what that is. It's kind of like a stopgap because he wants to come in. He's gonna make a huge payday for fighting, our guy, and he's gonna do that. But we know what's happening. You're already talking about him lining up, hopefully to finally fight Usyk, right? That's the fight I want. That's the fight you want. That's the fight we want to see. So I think Tyson Fury said he doesn't even think he's gonna break a sweat. and he's talking about fighting like very soon, literally with Usyk. So we'll see what happens. But you still want to see because anything can happen. With that being said, Amanda Serrano, man, what can you say, right? She is lightning in the bottle. She had a tough way to go last time because the lady she fought was just so tough, just tough opponent. I think she's tough. With Serrano, you just have to see what's going on. We know what happens when she faces a top notch Taylor. She fought? Was it Katie Taylor? What did she fought before?
Yeah.
And lost to, but Dynamite would love to see the rematch there. But other than that, she's on fire. You definitely want to watch that too. What was the other one you said that was about the other?
Foster Hernandez.
Yeah, Foster. And Foster has just that kind of I'm in the gym type of thing, type of guy who comes in and he looks good and can make it happen. Hernandez is like, dude, we from the barrio, bro. let's let's get in it. Tough guy. Two guys that really gonna put it on the line. The question is it gonna be style or versus pure hard grit, toughness that is gonna win that fight? I think two different kind of styles and a little bit more flash. It's something with guys that's gonna come straight at you. So I think that's gonna be something to watch out for too. So we'll see what happens.
Your boy Israel said he's going to take some time off, which I think is a very great idea. We talked about that on a few other shows that he was going at a rampant pace and he needed to take some time off. Usman loses a decision, um, and this is like his third straight loss, I believe. And and what's next for Usman because he's really kind of taken a pounding in the last few fights. And do you think he'll take some time off, kind of think about it, or he'll just continue fighting? Because in MMA, you can have like 2 or 3 losses in a row and then come back, and then a couple of fights, you're the champion again.
Yeah, I agree with that. But when you look at Usman, then when you're repeating some of the same mistakes, right? The problem is you got 3 fights that you lost in a row. So there's a problem somewhere. You're not addressing it. You just keep going back out there. You're training. You're doing the same thing over. Something's not working because the guy that we know of, we think we know of, is capable of being a champion, is not showing up. So I would, if I was his team, I would definitely make a suggestion to him just take some time just to get your head right. What are you doing? I mean, why you have to be on every other car? Especially when you're not, he's not producing. I think clearly watching it, the money, I get the money, I get it. That's what you're doing. That's great. But if you're going to be considered one of the best, you got to go in there and start thinking about what mistakes am I making. You're doing the same thing. There's certain guys that you shouldn't be losing to, but you are 3 times in a row. So anyway, what they say, Israel's the same way. I just I don't know. I mean, I know they keep bringing back people from his childhood for him to fight. I mean, so it seems like I just don't know if there's a challenge left for Israel, and he gets lackadaisical when he doesn't have a real challenge. And maybe he takes some time off, try to find somebody that makes sense, right? That can really challenge him. But deep down inside, people, oh, what do you mean by that? A fighter is a fighter, yeah, but you got to see different than that. When you're on that level and you're really great, some of these guys just go, I really don't have to. I can just go in there and have a second, not to my best effort and beat this guy just because I'm that much better. And I think that's Israel's issue. I think he really needs a fight that's going to be challenging. I'm not sure if that's anything left because the question is the only thing I really see, truthfully, and I'm sure if he wants to do this, we know what it is. If you really want to get your mind right, you want to see how great you are. It's only one thing to do. Let's tighten up. Let's go to heavyweight and go see my boy John Jones.
Yeah, and he just
You now you want you. I bet you get ready for that. I bet you he would get ready. He would. It'd probably be his most difficult challenge to date, and it'll be hard as hell because not only are you moving up in the class of fighter that you're facing, right? But you're moving up to heavyweight, and that's a grown man's division.
yeah. And speaking of John Jones, he had a pectoral injury, and so he's out of I believe 295. So fighting at the heavyweight division, he's pretty much out. Don't know when he's going to be back, but yeah, if that's going to happen, it'll probably happen sometime next year.
Well, they say John Jones might be out 8 months.
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty tough.
Mm-hmm.
That is pretty tough. All right, any other news that we need to look out for?
Yeah, just get ready for some things coming around. The Pike we saw down the line is going to be Devin Haney versus Regis Prodre. That's going to be exciting there. That's going to happen, I think, first week in December. Interesting news. They're saying that because Devin, it's that round robin of Devin Haney talking about Shakur Stevenson, who's talking about Tank Davis and all this stuff. But I think Devin Haney is like, yeah, I want to fight Tank Davis. But he says, I don't think it's going to happen at 135. But he said, we got to get some real money on this, and we might as well do it at 140 whenever that comes to play. And let me just say this one last thing and get off this thing real quick. I've seen this, and I heard a lot of people talking about the apparent offer that Devin Haney's camp made to Shakur Stevenson for a fight. And the way they wanted to do it was Devin Haney would get 75% of the purse. Shakur would get 25% of the purse. Some people have said that Shakur is scared. He should be happy and just jump out there and take the opportunity so he can prove himself that he's probably one of the pound for pound. I get that. And they say, well, Shakur Stevenson has not earned the right. Devin Haney went overseas, came back, brought the belts. He's the A side. I even get that part. But what I don't think a lot of people understand is this. And the reason why I'm saying this about Shakur Stevenson, not just about his talent, but if you know how good Shakur Stevenson is, and you know how big this fight is, right? Why would you, to satisfy and prove stuff to maybe a couple fighters and maybe to some fans, take a fight at that amount of that cut at that rate when you know you can get more money down the line. It's going to be a bigger fight. You could take it just to prove everybody, oh, look at me, I got the belts. That doesn't make good business sense. 25% now, you wait another year, which is going to make it even bigger. It might be even closer to 35 or 40, depending on who you fight. And in particular, if you fight a Lomachenko and you destroy a Lomachenko, then you have a bigger fight. And you continue to fight somebody else too. So I guess from the standpoint of why people need to understand this is about money as well. You know, I don't know what they want Shakur Stevenson to do, just take 25% and shut up. Not if he believes also that he can beat Devin Haney, right? I mean, that's the other part about it too. If you believe that and you know down the line we're going to meet, why would you settle for 25% now when there are other fights out there for you to make more money?
You know what I think is going to happen before the Haney Stevenson fight? Stevenson Lomachenko.
Yeah.
And if Stevenson could beat Lomachenko convincingly, then you can't give him no 25% at that particular point, based on what you did with Lomachenko. So I think that will happen first, but before taking the 25% that Haney's offering at this particular point. And I think, to me personally, I think that 25% is just buying time for some strange reason, for whatever reasons. I don't know. I'm not going to say scared, things of that sort. I think buying time, maybe to fight bigger fights or fights that are worth more money. But yeah, if Stevenson beats Lomachenko, then what excuses do you have at that particular point? You can't say you can afford anybody or earn the right to get that. If he beat the man that people say that you didn't beat.
Right. I agree with that. My only issue with that, not even the issue, is my only concern that we need to watch for is because we know that Bob Arum's team or group has a special liking for Lomachenko, one of their clients, same way he did Pacquiao. And he knows what Stevenson can do. So why would you put him in such harm's way, knowing? And I really believe he thought Lomachenko could beat Haney. I really believe that. That's why they put him in the ring with that. But now Stevenson's a whole different monster. That's a whole different thing. And he knows the talent. So do you risk, if Lomachenko loses this fight, that could be it.
Yeah.
That could be it. As far as any quality fights, that could be it. So do you take that risk knowing that you've been protecting this guy for a long time? Do you really want to see Shakur Stevenson?
Yeah, but and Lomachenko, how old is he? He's pretty.
Yeah, he's getting up.
Time is of the essence at this particular point.
Yeah, I agree.
He's Icewater on Puma, and this is Fight Game.